So, we're going to do a fight cave run, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. Some of the first things that I would recommend is trying to have a pretty decently high defense level. And if you're using range like I am, a decent range weapon and a decent range level as well. Bastion potions are always going to help. You don't have to bring things like a surge pot or prayer regen potion. Um, you don't have to bring only one brew. You don't have to bring RKS Spellbook or Prayer Cape or Holy Wrench. You don't have to bring Venator Bow. You don't have to bring Dragon Arrows. None of that. I would definitely recommend at least the Bastions and a bunch of Saradomin Brews and Super Restores, right? And if you want to, you can bring something like a Toxic Blowpipe with Dragon Darts for spec because it can heal you if you use it on something like a bat or a little bloblet. Those can heal you for quite a decent amount of HP. So, that being said, I'm going to be on Slayer task. So, I have an extra bonus. I'm using Bofa with full crystal and stuff, so I have even more bonuses. So, don't be afraid. Your time is not going to be as quick as mine. And I've done this a few times as well. So, it's a lot easier the more and more practice that you have with it. That being said, if this is your first time, I highly recommend that you get a plugin or turn it on if it's already installed, called Fight Cave Helper. I usually actually leave this one off when I'm not in the fight caves, but if you turn this on when you're doing fight caves, really, really helpful. I think it's actually a already installed RuneLite plugin. It might be in the plugin hub. You might have to search for it. But when you do download it, you will see this little rotation box pop up here. And you will see this Fight Cave Helper down at the bottom right hand side. And this is showing you the rotations, the spawns of where things are going to be spawning. You can set this up so that it's whatever rotation that you feel comfortable with. For me, I do one of the common speedrunning rotations, which is rotation number 5. The reason why we do 5 is for speedrunning, or if you're trying to do the fight cave speedrunner combat task, is these spawns are actually a lot closer on rotation 5 than a few of the other rotations. So that's why you can see where it says desired ETA 10 minutes, because I'm actually waiting for the rotation that I want to be doing. And every single time that this changes, it will confirm it. You can swap worlds and hop worlds to find the correct rotation for you, or you can just wait around and wait for the rotation that you desire. That is not necessarily something that you have to do. You can do this on any rotation, whichever you feel comfortable with. It's a little bit easier if you are seeing things spawn at the same spot every single time that you are practicing or that you're doing this on Slayer task, because this is a great Slayer task to be doing with Slayer EXP up the wazoo. So that being said, you might be coming back to maybe a hunt for the pet, or maybe get an extra fire cape if you like PvPing or something. So definitely try to set up a rotation that you're comfortable with, and something that you might be trying out for the future as well. Mine just happens to be rotation 5. I'm going to be using RKS Spellbook with Death Charge and Thralls. Don't have to do that either. That's going to be more prayer points that people are spending. It just speeds up my time just a little bit. Makes things a little bit quicker for me, but you're not going for speed, you're going for completion, right? Right. So, we're going to hop some worlds here and see if we can find a better rotation. I think I have everything I need ready to rumble. Let's find a good world, though. So we're back. We are 2 minutes out, and we are going to get prepared. if you don't know what a pre-pot is, I'm going to show you what a pre-pot is. I've also grabbed a extended stam just because I do a lot of running around inside the fight caves. You don't have to do that. You can take it easy, take it slow. I am familiar with where everything is spawning and what prayers I need to be prioritizing, which I will show you as we go along. That being said, a lot of people think that they need to be hiding behind rocks this entire time. You don't necessarily have to be doing that if you're familiar with blocking, if you're familiar with prioritizing. It can actually be pretty simple. So, that being said, we have a 1 dose, a Divine Bastion. I have the Barbarian training to smash the vial, so the inventory will free up. The tuna will be for the divine effect, and so I'll be back at full HP, and then the angler will heal me up to 126. Since I have 99s in every combat, it will be nice and easy to do this fight caves. It just saves a little bit of supplies as you're going in. You obviously don't want to be running out when you're inside. So, I've got about 20 seconds, and we'll dash on in. Just got to confirm the rotation. There we go. We're at 5. So there's the full health and then anglerfish. And now we can grab some restores, jump on in. So, you see 2 little spawns here, as well as a white one. That's where the bat comes from. And these green tiles, that's where the next ones are coming from, right? These attack with melee. You can just use blowpipe or bofa, whatever have you. They're not going to hit you for too much. This little blob guy splits into 2. Try not to hit him with melee because he will do some reflect damage back. He's not going to hit you for all that much either, though. So notice how I'm not standing behind a rock yet. Nor do I really care to at the moment. Because I would much rather be getting this done quicker, right? So I knew that bat was going to spawn there, so I instantly knew I could one-tap him. Swap into the venerable bow. It's going to be a blob right here, and a blob right here. You can turn rigor on if you want to as well. Fun fact, if something dies while it's moving, you actually are able to skip the death animation by 1 tick, versus if it's standing still. So that's why you see me kiting stuff. So the ranger, he will hit you. So from now on, try to have your protect from range prayer when this guy is out. That being said, if you kill him first, rather than the bat, you hit at 40. And now you can actually have your prayer off for the rest of the time, right? Rather than still having your protection prayer up. Easy. He's just in front of me. So on my way over, I'm just going to hit him. And then we're just going to hit him. Right? See how easy this is? Obviously, if you're not 99 in everything with a bofa, it's going to be a little bit slower for you. You might have to spend a little bit more time on killing something, but it's still the same thing. Just have your protection prayer out, and now I can kill the rest of everything. and not have to worry about taking damage, right? Because these guys aren't really going to hurt me all that much. If they do, they might do like a 5. They might do a 6 or something. And protection prayer back up. Where's the ranger? There he is. So I'm going to hit him first. I'm going to try to split up that bloblet. Now we can turn that off. Swap in our Venator. Nice and quick, right? Turn range prayer back on. This is also why I brought the stam, is because some people do a lot of running. This is the traditional Italy rock that a lot of people use for a safe spot. You can come over here anytime, and as long as something is more than 1 tile, this is a 2x2, as long as it's not a 1 tile like these little guys, then he gets stuck behind this rock. Right? Nice and easy. So you don't even have to worry about protection prayers at all if you're using something like Italy rock. In the later waves, you can probably also see me using this, because there will be stuff spawning over this way. And so it's sometimes a nice tactic to use. There's now going to be a melee guy that pops out. He can also heal. He's annoying. He's not too dangerous, but he will hit you. He's a lot more annoying than he is dangerous. This is a huge, big guy, though, and he is very commonly trapped behind something like Italy Rock or something like the Major. You could even trap him behind something like a Bloblet as well. They are big, big guys. So I can pull him this way, right? And now I can worry on the bat. I can worry about this bat too if I wanted to, but nice and easy. We're 5 minutes in. We just used a full prayer pot. Oh, no ranger yet. So, if you need to, you can even block like this. Knowing that these little bloblet guys aren't going to damage me all that much, I can stand over here, allow them to give me a few punches like that, and I can stay safe the whole time. Right? So again, we'll do it again. He's going to split into his little bloblets. And now this one little guy is making sure that I don't get hit a 25 or a 15 by that big melee guy. Nice and easy, right? These bats will drain your prayer, so do be careful about leaving them alive for too long. However, getting hit for 1 prayer or 2 prayer points, when you have a ton of prayer pots and a ton of time, it's not all that important, right? Just try and prioritize things as much as possible. The blobs are always going to have to split up, and they have a death animation. And there's always going to be 2 blobs that come from them. So you can use that to your advantage as well. You don't necessarily have to stand behind Italy Rock the whole time. If you are comfortable, you can be out in the open. Now, we do have a ranger this time. and he will do a melee hit. However, notice you can also walk around the ranger like this. And now the melee guy is standing behind him. You don't have to worry about getting hit with a melee hit as well as a range hit. Now you can just swap prayers. Nice and easy, right? There's going to be a melee guy that hits here. Now I'm out of melee range, so I swap to range prayer, and back to melee. Easy. That's the annoying bit with the heal. Swap to range prayer. We're going to kill the ranger first. And look at that. Now we can just turn off protection prayers. And full well know that we're not going to be taking massive amounts of damage, right? Don't even have to use Italy Rock. Range prayer back on. Let's get behind this guy here. Right? Now the big melee guy is blocked. And I can just focus. Oh, don't even need to use protection prayers. Look at that. That's what happens when you kill a blob early, is that sometimes these little bloblets can actually be very beneficial for you, especially when you're doing speed runs. And range prayer. There's the blob. We're just going to run around this guy a little bit here, just to make sure. There we go. Oh, we should use a bastion potion, shouldn't we? It's helpful to remember. Alright, where is our ranger? There he is. This is where Italy Rock is sometimes nice and helpful. So you know the big melee guy is always going to be stuck behind there. However, you've also got the blob stuck behind the melee guy as well. So you could focus on the blob now. Split that up, swap in a defender bow. Nice and quick. As long as you can actually hit, rather than using dragon arrows and splashing. Awesome. Gonna kill that blob there. If you don't have 99 defense, you can obviously use protection prayers if you need to. If you are a little scared of what's coming at you, or if you find yourself taking damage. There's two rangers here, right? So just kill the first one as quickly as possible. If you need to kite him around the ranger or around a rock, you can. Kill the rangers first, and then you can focus on the big guy. The rangers can be attacking you from anywhere. The melee guy has to be next to you. So you can always run away from the melee guys. But with something like the mage or range, you want to try to kill those guys quick as possible. Bats and blobs are nice to block with. And so are rocks. And now we have the major coming out. From this point on, after the double meleeers, I would always try to keep your mage prayer on while the major is alive. The major can hit you with a melee hit, just like the ranger can if you're standing in melee range. And he bites pretty hard. He also attacks quite quickly. I wouldn't try flicking mage prayers as well, especially if this might be your first or second fight cave run. He attacks at a pretty quick cycle, and it's pretty hard to keep up with over time. So I would just keep your magic prayer on at all times whenever this big boy's out. And the great thing about these big boys, oh, there's a melee hit right there, tried to bite me, is that it can also be used to block things like bats and blobs. Not rangers though, of course. And you will see that coming out here in just a few. So, we're going to make him spawn first. I'm going to worry about these guys. Use some more prayer regen. So you see how a blob is spawning over here? If that was something scary like a ranger, I could drag the major this way with me. That ranger is stuck way over there, if that's a ranger. But now I can focus on the mage. And that range guy, if he was a range guy, would be stuck over there, and I wouldn't have to worry about taking range hits as well as mage hits as I'm trying to kill one or the other, right? Nice and easy. It's also one of the great things about rotation 5. But he is a bloblet. However, we can now do the same thing with the mage. So, you know that the mage is stuck behind that rock, right? So, you can kill these guys first, make sure that your mage prayer is on, and then step out from behind the rock. Make sure to divine. Look how easy this is. We're 15 minutes in. We're on wave 36. And we really haven't taken all that much damage yet. I'm going to kill this blob first. Oops. I clicked out. Glad he didn't hit me for a 60 right there. That would have been very grumpy of him. And now, if you need to, you can always refill some health with the blowpipe. Nice and easy. You don't have to do things perfect, right? However, can we see a mage hit here? Nope. Ranger first always. The ranger has 40 HP. The big major has 160. And he has a pretty high defense level as well. So you might find yourself actually spending some time trying to kill these majors. It's going to be a big time sink. But these little range guys can be highly annoying if you let them live for way too long. And if I really wanted to, we could make sure that we stand one tile away at all times, just making sure that we're not standing in the melee range here. But as long as you are 2 tiles away, right, and we can go around this way, and now our bat's this way. Nice and easy. We're going to throw that back on. Bofa helps because it hits very high, and it is very useful against high defense, like the major. Or medium defense, I should say. It's not necessarily high defense. Alright. So we got our ranger over here. We could use our little safe spot in the corner there if we needed to, and try to keep him against the rock. But I have faith in my defense abilities. And we're going to drag him. Perfect. Make him spawn the bloblets. I just wanted to make sure that they didn't come around this east side here, so just making sure. Now let's use that. We should have one ranger up here. And that's one hit right there. 160. Oops. Not before he gives me a little 2 to grow on there. But anytime that you are hitting the ranger and you hit something like a 160 with your range EXP, if you see that 160, that means that you hit the 40 and you are set to go. I also have death animations turned off as well, so that as soon as something is dead, I'm not actually looking at it. Because I don't need to be, right? So, my major's over here. I've got a ranger coming this way. And so now we can actually use this opposite side and use the same exact idea that we were doing on this side. But now we've got the major trapped on that side. This old ranger guy's going to try to hit me. But I can hit him with my bofa, no problem. And this guy is far behind the rock there. Right? So we'll just use our feather bow real quick. Protect from mage. And we'll come on out. I wouldn't recommend trying to use blowpipe spec against something like the major, because he has pretty high defense. If you use it against a blob, it will heal you over if you do hit something like a 35. Even though the blob only has 10 HP. Ouch. That's why we try to kill these rangers. Here we go. Awesome. Now, if you brought it, here's where you can bring Death Charge and a Surge Pot into play. And just in case I get into a sticky situation with these double rangers right here, because there's going to be one spawning here. And in fact, oops, I'm in melee range. Let's get out of the way. I'm just going to preemptively get over this way, just because I know that both of these rangers are going to be hitting me, and I want to try to kill them as quickly as possible, right? So I'm going to try to get in the middle of them. Hit that one first. There's one down. Swap to blowpipe and big spec. There we go. So double rangers sometimes can be pretty difficult. Always remember to keep this mage prayer on though, unless he's stuck behind a rock, of course. But the double rangers will definitely hurt just a little bit. So now we've got our melee. And the great thing about the melee guy is that he is massive, right? So he is pretty easily stuck behind something as big as the major. Don't have to worry about it whatsoever. Now you can turn your melee prayer on if you want to. You can try kiting him back towards the middle, because you know that there's going to be some spawns that are up here. But full well knowing that this major is spawning right here, I can actually already preemptively stand in my safe spot here, right? And that's why sometimes having the correct wave rotation that you are very used to, that's where it can sometimes be very helpful. Because I could sort of already preemptively stand over here. I knew what I had to be doing. Let's actually do this first. Awesome. Mage prayer back on. Can preemptively click and get on over here. And just like that, everything is going to be stuck behind the mage now. Don't have to worry about anything at all. See how easy the waves are? Once you know what you're doing, you can, of course, shift click, right click. You can tag the bats if you want to. You could tag the big melee guys with their true tile if you want to. That just shows you their location. And mage prayer back on. Big melee guy is going to hit me. However, we can use this rock here, right? And he's going to get stuck right here. This blob is going to get stuck behind him. And all of a sudden, we only have one thing to worry about. Always try to make sure that you only have, quote unquote, one thing to worry about, whether or not that's a ranger or a big major. If you feel like stepping out here and pre-killing the blob to try to get a quicker time, you can. If you've got extra prayer pots. I could drink some of my prayer regen. And turn mage prayer back on. And now I know I can bring him this way. And as long as I'm standing right here at this rock, I've got my little bloblets in front of me, so I'm not getting my prayer drained. All right. And that's a great thing about the Venom bow. Awesome. We're just going to run behind 2 tiles here. There we go. And now we've trapped a melee guy. This little horse L configuration. This is sometimes called the knight tile swap. Oops. But if you do up 1 and over 2, like the knight in chess, or up 2 and over 1, they're sometimes called L skips or knight skip. Very, very useful. I'm going to let these guys actually get together here. And that didn't work. Back to mage prayer. So I know that this guy's stuck. So I don't even really have to worry. I can even refill some health while I'm waiting. Oops. Let's get the right bow out there. That helps. You could leave these blobs if you wanted to, so that you could try to turn off your protection prayers sooner. You don't have to be using rigor at all times if you're running out of prayer, of course. I just know that we only have about 10 minutes left-ish on this fire cape, so I know that we'll be perfectly fine. Alright, so the major is going to spawn all the way over here. There's going to be a ranger right here as well. So let me turn mage on and kill the ranger first. And try to get behind this guy here. Oops, not in melee range of the big guy though. That's important. always have to stand at least one tile away from the mage, or else you will get chomped. Fantastic. We are noodling. So I know my ranger is going to spawn right here. I can preemptively click as soon as he spawns. Try to get him down as quickly as possible. Now this is a little dangerous because he is only one away from this side. Actually, he might be two. No, that's two tiles. It's always better safe than sorry. We're going to have a melee guy spawn here. We're going to have a ranger over here. So this is where it helps to use Italy Rock, full well knowing that you can prioritize one thing at a time, right? Awesome. No need to panic. No need to be running around everywhere. You can just sort of take it slow, take it easy. You can be using rigor if you want to, or not using rigor. Just always try to make sure that you have your mage prayer on, that you're killing the rangers first. And if you need to use something like Italy Rock, or need to use something like a blob, you can always do that as well, right? If you need, you can always refill some spec with something like a surge pot and death charge. Right. If you've never seen somebody flick before, you're just, anytime that you see that bottom number come up, that's when you want to have rigor on. Anytime that you're actually looking at the numbers, you can have it off. But as soon as you see the numbers go into the little bar there, then you can turn rigor back on. It's called prayer flicking. Alright, I misjudged that one. There we go. Now he's stuck. I don't necessarily care about these small guys here. I do care about getting the big guy stuck, though. Just trying to get a few hits on the mage. Look at that, we actually killed the mage before the ranger could get to us. Because we dragged him all the way over here. Ouch, a 12. All right. You don't have to use something like a Venator bow. You can always just use your Bowfa or Sunlight, Hunter Crossbow, whatever you have. Whatever is going to make it easiest for you. And just make sure you stand one tile away. Ouch. 6. That hurts. And you can use this rock to safe spot as well. As soon as you see that number go in, turn it on. This is with 4 tick as well. With 5 tick, you have to wait a second, or 0.6 seconds, I should say. So now we've got 2 rangers. Always remember, kill those rangers first. We've got a meleeer coming over from that side. So we want to get him ready for a block. Nice and easy, right? Alright. Try to get over this way here. You can use Italy Rock here if you would like. It does make it a little bit easier to kill the melee guys first. But our next wave is double mage. And where the orange one pops up, that is where Jad is going to be coming from. So we are almost at Jad here. So I'm going to use my potions here. I shouldn't have used that divine. That's fine. Can just use a regular bastion. Awesome. And this is the wave that takes the longest amount of time always. So that's where Jad is going to be popping up. Right where this orange guy was. So I'm going to kill the regular mage first, and then we'll kill the orange guy after. There's going to be some healers that spawn during Jad. All we're going to do is just hit them once, what's called tagging. But while we're doing that, we're going to be watching Jad's prayer the whole time. And by that, I mean anytime that he stands up on his hind legs, make sure that you have your magic prayer on. If not, just keep your range prayer on. So you can think of it as always keeping your range prayer on, but if you see him raise up on his hind legs, then turn on your magic prayer. So I'm going to start off with range. Here's Jad right here, and he's on his hind legs. So magic prayer. And he raised up on his hind legs, so magic prayer. And hind legs. Here's the little healers. There's 2 coming over from this side. The slamming of the ground is range. Hind legs is magic. Right? So you don't have to worry about all the sounds that you hear going on here. Just worry about watching Jad. If he's slamming the ground, use your range prayer. If he's going up on his hind legs, use your magic prayer. Right? Slamming the ground. Gonna get these guys over here. You know what? We're actually gonna kill all these little healers. This is not something that you're supposed to do, but I'm just gonna show you how easy it is to practice. He's slamming the ground, so I'm just on range prayer. Now he's up on his hind legs, so magic. I can go back. There we go. Is he gonna go on highland? There we go. And hind legs. Right? How easy is this? Hind legs again. F3 and F4 are my hotkeys. So I can just swap between at any time my inventory and my prayers. You don't have to be panicking. You don't have to be all that worried. It's just somebody that has 2 different attacks. So anytime that he's slamming the ground, you're just protecting from range. Anytime you see him on the hind legs, switch over to mage. Right? Sometimes he'll do 2 in a row. Sometimes he'll swap. Right? So forget about the healers. All you have to do is just be watching him slam the ground or raise up on his hind legs. I always just like to think of raising up on the hind legs, protect from magic. That being said, we're going to finish this up. And slam the ground. And hind legs.
Slayer task completed.
Easy as that, right? So, that being said, a lot of people get really worked up or they get very nervous about worrying about the healers or worrying about Jad's prayers. If you think about it as standing up on his hind legs, using Protect from Magic, it's nice and easy. Nice and easy. And you get a fire cape after. If you want to, you can give your fire cape to this guy, which you can trade for money, or you can bargain for the pet. You not lucky this time. Maybe next time. Anyway, great Slayer EXP. Great way to get some easy Slayer points as well, and some easy combat achievements, and you also have a pet chance there too. So, that being said, I hope you have fun with your fight caves, because very, very easy. Very, very quick. Bada bing, bada boom. And you're on to the next one. Enjoy.